Similar to the releases of Episode 7 and Episode 8, we have now officially begun the journey to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the multimedia project consisting of novels, comics, and guides that lead up to the release of Episode 9. The comic underpinning this project is the 4-issue miniseries called Star Wars Allegiance, which is set after the events of Episode 8, leading into the Rise of Skywalker. With the release of the first issue last week, we'll break down and give a full recap of issue number 1, and then I'll provide a few of my thoughts on the issue and the series. Opening up on the mid-rim ice planet of Tah'Nuhna, the issue first introduces us to the planet's population of the same name. The Tah'Nuhna were a species defined by their academic and cultural pursuits, assisting the galaxy by achieving great things in the areas of medicine and astronomy, to name a few. This afforded the planet a position of neutrality, kept out of the galaxy's most devastating wars. However, this would quickly change in an irreversible way when the First Order descended upon the planet after it was learned that a resistance transmission was found to have originated on the planet. While the leader of the Tah'Nuhna attempted to explain that the planet had always welcomed all travelers, a practice that even the Empire had previously recognized, General Hux didn't see it the same way, viewing the planet as their enemy, and thus ordering a full-scale bombardment and massacre of anyone attempting to flee. In their final moments, the Tah'Nuhna leadership was able to send out a distress call, informing the galaxy that the planet had fallen and was in need of assistance. The request for any help available would eventually reach Lieutenant Connix at the hidden resistance base on the planet of Anoat, who in a panic ran to deliver the bad news to General Leia Organa. After learning that the First Order annihilated the planet, Leia was uniquely devastated, knowing that the Tah'Nuhna had paid the ultimate price for helping them, and having always wanted to prevent another planet from experiencing what Alderaan had decades earlier. When Lieutenant Connix explained that they could only protect as many of those who still remain, Leia agreed, and determined that the Resistance could no longer afford to hide and seek refuge upon Anoat. And even more, the Resistance needed weapons, ships, and more recruits to use them if they had any hope of defeating the First Order. But it wasn't as if the Resistance was doing nothing. They had Vi Moradi searching the galaxy for a planet suitable for a permanent base, Snap Wexley leading a mission targeting remote shipyards, and Poe and Finn were attempting to track down weapons. However, Leia now saw it was time for her to take action, doing something that should have been done long ago. With that, Leia had Chewbacca prepare the Millennium Falcon for them, completing their preparations by having Rose, R2, and C-3PO joining their mission, which Leia considered more of a friendly visit. But Leia realized her team could also benefit from one additional member. At this point, the issue jumps to Rey, who's revealed to also be on Anoat as well. And although she had been scavenging the garbage planet for spare parts, she was now preoccupied with testing her skills against an Anoatian pit beast. Initially confident against the beast, Rey would be placed in danger when she fell from the top of a garbage pile, crashing hard upon the ground. Looking to protect herself through the use of the Force, even this didn't immediately rescue Rey, as she found it had no effect, leaving her wondering why she was struggling so much to focus. As Rey fled, she was determined to win with or without the Force, but quickly caught herself, turning her thoughts inward and recognizing that she was struggling with the weight of the pressure she was putting on herself. Failing in her use of the Force meant that she was undermining the sacrifices made by Han, Luke, and the other Resistance members. As Rey believed she had found her answer, she attempted to use the Force to make a mental connection with the beast, only to find that that failed too. Fortunately for Rey, the Millennium Falcon flew in to rescue her at the perfect moment, scaring off the Anoatian pit beast. As Rey boarded the ship, Leia told her that there were better ways to work out her frustration, but further explained that again, they were embarking upon that which Leia saw as a solemn task that she needed to carry out. The issue would then take the reader to the Wayward Comet refueling station, showing us Finn and Poe's mission to track down weapons for the Resistance. And despite what Rey believed, it was not a positive experience for Finn in the least. As Finn had somehow gotten himself into a fistfight with another patron of the station, despite attempting to keep a low profile, he was rescued when BB-8 intervened so as to get Finn's opponent to instigate a fight with another individual. As Poe returned after meeting with their contact, he had good news for Finn. Their contact provided them with the location of a secret decommissioned New Republic impound on the moon of Avidot, which included a cache of weapons that had been confiscated from pirates, exactly what the Resistance needed in their war against the First Order. As Poe went to ready their shuttle, Finn went to gather the rest of their team. However, it's then revealed that one of the galaxy's most infamous criminal gangs, known as the Kendo Gang, being led by Kendo Voss, was on Poe and Finn's trail, looking to collect on a significant bounty placed on the Resistance members by the First Order. After the gang informed the First Order that they found Finn, we see the news reach General Hux and Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Although Hux wasn't concerned with rumors of Resistance sightings, Kylo is adamant that every rumor and scrap of information would be thoroughly vetted by the First Order until every member of the Resistance had been destroyed. With Hux now properly understanding the seriousness in which Kylo wanted the task performed, he authorized the down payment to be given to the Kendo Gang to pursue their target. Finally, we see Leia, Rey, and Chewbacca reach their destination, which turned out to be the planet of Mon Cala. Having landed within Dax City and emerging from the Falcon, Leia couldn't help but remember the memories she had of the planet, and most notably, her fallen friend Admiral Akbar. But as she noted that it was finally good to be somewhere where she felt safe and welcome for once, all of that was erased when the Quarren and Mon Calamari welcoming party informed Leia that she shouldn't have come to Mon Cala given the destruction she brought to the planet, and demanding a reason why they shouldn't kill her there on the spot. In comparing the First Order actions on the planet of Tah'Nuhna in this issue of Allegiance to the First Order actions on the mid-rim planet of Ikruk within the Poe comic, both of which occurred following the Battle of Crait, the tone and feel of the First Order is so much better here that it's already piqued my interest for that reason alone. As episode 9 approaches, one of the elements that I'd like to see touched on most in this 4-issue run is the First Order, primarily how it's invading and attempting to establish its rule over the galaxy. Destroying a planet whose neutrality was respected even by the Empire is an interesting place to begin. This is the first issue with a lot of introductory scenes to explain where and what each Resistance member is doing, so we'll proceed like we did after the first issue in the Jedi Fallen Order Dark Temple series, knowing that the crucial aspects of the story will develop over the next few issues. I was a bit on the skeptical side going into this series, as the focus appeared to be Leia's attempts to seek allies and recruits to fight the First Order, notably seeking out the Mon Calamari, who helped the rebellion to such a large extent decades earlier. My skepticism was driven by the fact that we already had a similar arc in the main Star Wars series called Mutiny on Mon Cala, which showed Leia and the rebellion's attempt to recruit the Mon Calamari. And in that arc, like it appears the path is unfolding in Allegiance, it was a hard sell. I'm hoping we just don't see Rebellion Building 2.0 here, mirroring what we've already seen, preferring of course new stories within this different era. I do like the primary motivation of Leia seems to be in undertaking a solemn task out of respect to Admiral Akbar, not perhaps solely ally building. In this sense, I'm hoping for something that's larger in scale than simply recruitment on Mon Cala. It might be too much to expect from a 4-issue series, but since it's one of the primary works in the Journey to Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker multimedia project, I'm hoping to learn more about the galaxy at large following the Battle of Crait. We know many systems turned to the First Order after the decimation of the Hosnian system, but I'd like more clarification on why there appears to be no one willing to help the Resistance at this point. Those of course are my own questions, but I do hope they're addressed in some way within a valuable story about the Resistance here. I really enjoyed Rey's minor role in this issue. I mentioned in our Rey-focused Age of Resistance review that it was disappointing not to see that issue dive into the vulnerabilities of Rey leading into episode 8, which were so obviously there for her. Allegiance was a little different, in that it appears we might see Rey struggle more. The screenwriter of episode 9 has recently said that one of the primary questions they asked before creating the final act of the Skywalker saga is who is Rey? Not just in the literal and factual sense, exemplified in questions like who her parents are, but also in a spiritual sense. The spiritual is embodied through questions like how she'll find the courage and power to carry on what she's inherited, which is so much when you think about her position after The Last Jedi. I like that Rey explicitly asked this question in the issue, addressing the fact that it really is up to her now following the sacrifices of so many before her. Even Rey is wondering how she can carry on what she inherited. But with the largest questions and tests coming in episode 9, I hope focus is placed on this question and Rey is made uncomfortable in figuring them out. If we treat Allegiance as a starting point here, knowing the most important aspects will be shown in the film, I'm hoping there's a worthy payoff by the end of the trilogy. And if we get to see her crack open those ancient Jedi texts again so we can get some weight of their importance and teachings, that would be very welcomed as well. It's hard for me not to enjoy a good 100-Year Darkness reference, but there were other interesting tie-ins with Resistance members Vi and Snap, as well as the return of the Kendo gang seen in the Galaxy's Edge comic series. I didn't mention Kylo Ren, the new Supreme Leader of the First Order, because I believe his role will be more important in the subsequent issues, so that's one aspect I'll be focused on in issue number 2. But please don't hesitate to let me know what you thought of issue number 1 of Star Wars Allegiance in the comments section below. Are there any questions that you'd like to see addressed as we head into episode 9? Whether they be about the larger war between the First Order and the Resistance, or the characters themselves, I'd love to hear them. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and as always, may the Force be with you.